La na 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 na. Hey.
Hello.
I'm at the I think I hear your vehicle go through the gates.
Are we supposed to? It says no trespassing. I don't know. We're big on signs around here, Nino. How have you known that?
Yeah, but there's a document that lists every single government facility, and this is not on it.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm still trying to figure out what is this, because did you see what I'm now?
What do you mean I own this now? I put in a business proposal.
Oh, you own this? Oh, that's cool. Hey, no, did you see my twats though? The
The
sign down there off Sustancia, it says Los Santos government facility, which would mean it's municipal.
Yeah.
But then this sign says national, so it'd be federal.
Yeah.
So I'm confused, Nino.
So this should be a federal building. Let's go inside. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. You're a goddamn war hero.
Did you talk to the state about this?
I am the state. That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Me too.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I mean, we're all the state in some way, right?
Yeah, I mean, not wrong. All right. There's a guy up there like screaming.
There's a guy screaming.
Yeah.
Is it Soze?
No, I don't know who it is.
He
Like
yellow clouds.
he keeps I don't know, he's like talking to the president or some shit.
Oh, that makes.
You know,
Yeah, see, there it is again. Los Santos.
yeah. You know, there's like Los Santos and then Los Santos, right?
Oh, is that? Have I just been? Is it like how?
It's like New York and New
like
York.
Come Mierda and Comida.
Kind of.
Like a pronunciation issue.
Los Santos government facility, national official of security enforcement.
Oh, so it's like, hold on.
I think it like, okay, so if this was New York, right? It would be like New York government facility. So it's in New York, but it's federal.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'm hoping that during this conversation, I'm going to be doing a lot of pushing for things. Because I feel like that's what I have to do. Right. But you know, I'm fully expecting that you're going to push back in the other direction. So just kind of be prepared for my, like, what might be perceived. Well, they're going to be demands, right? But I'm not going to like fucking nuke the place if I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You posted on that on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm asking for help with my confusion. All right. So what? Shoot. What do you want? What's going on?
Well, you had the document, right? You want to start there? Or should I go through like what I would like to see?
What document?
The one. Hold on. Didn't you say you were gonna have a document?
Yeah, so I have a draft to
and
clarify the FOIA stuff. What I'm asking is,
yeah.
I thought
Okay.
you had like a list of like stuff that you were concerned about with
100%.
FOIAs, and I could see how it would fit into this. You know?
Yes. Okay. Well, either way works. I thought we were gonna start with the draft and then be like, okay, cool. I'd like to also see this, or I could start with the list and then you could see, you know, whatever works. So I'll just go ahead and list off. I'd like to see the FOIA turnaround turn to 48 hours. My justification is as follows. This is going to be the baseline, and then there would be exceptions. So my justification for the 48-hour baseline is at the time of arrest, an officer requires probable cause. And so for them to press the charges on the individual, they would need to have everything they need to press said charges. Now, the only counter arguments to 48 hours that I've heard is someone goes into ICU, someone decides to go play golf for a couple days, right? So they need 5 days. I don't really buy that argument simply because at the time the charges are being pressed, you should have all that. So anything that might be any statements, any evidence that needs to be run, all these sort of things that would even possibly require 5 days, that's something that you might need to produce if the thing is going to end up going to court. But the thing is, if you're going to go and appeal the thing in court anyways, there's enough bandwidth for discovery in which they can do said cleanup. What this inherently does is it allows a much speedier process by which those that feel like there's grievances they have resulting in appeals or whatever it might be, being able to get their get due process completed in a much more timely fashion, rather than, you know, further delay it. I would even add to this that this city moves faster than it ever has from what I've seen so far. That, you know, 5 days is like a fucking eternity. So if shit's not getting done in 2 days, then it's probably not getting done anyways. Let me know when you're ready for the next thing.
Hold on.
I think I make a very valid argument. Why would you ever... I feel like that's a very valid argument. I'm going to be demanding a lot here.
So the thing that I'm kind of twisting on and debating back and forth in my head is your suggestion is that PD should basically just release reports from incidents that have occurred. What'd you say, 48 hours?
48 hours.
48 hours after they happen.
Correct.
But you know that the SOP, or maybe you don't know this, so the SOP for cops to finish writing their reports is 72 hours.
I mean, the SOPs, in my opinion, are irrelevant, as it is the duty of the police department, who is the owner of the SOPs, to update them as legislation changes. If SOPs are dictating activities that may be illegal, that might be outside of the scope of law, that is their job to change. Now, I do think that they should be put on notice when the FOIAs are updated, and then it's up to them to announce these changes. So they can ask for, SOPs, schmessops. I feel like, our laws are our laws.
Yeah, I don't
Now, if they come back and they're like, "Here's a legitimate," well, look, I don't want to run on assumptions of what they're thinking, but of the conversations I've had with the Ask Chief and Slacks, they weren't even able to really articulate and provide any reasoning as to why they even need 72 to begin with. My perception, based on the words that I think they were trying to put together, was, well, what if it's like an active case, right? And it's a bigger deal than it is.
Well,
like,
it's
for
an
example,
active case, it's getting denied. You're not getting that. So that's
yeah, exactly. If it's an active,
But, so
if it's an active case,
let
the
me-
charges
let me-
aren't going to be pressed anyways.
let me clarify for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's not always the case. Charges could have been pressed and they could be considered for search warrants or other things, ongoing investigations
Sure.
based on that incident.
Mhm.
I will say that the concern that I have, right, because I know this from dealing with bench trials and everything, most of the time, PD are going to have to write out their full statements.
Yep.
For all their reports, and the way that I understand it currently, they are working on it, but they are limited in numbers. And if I think 48 hours to me makes some sense, but I also understand why they might put 72. For example, there are plenty of cops that aren't on shift every day, and so they might get engaged in a couple of incidents that might take, because I've been a part of these bench trials where it's like a cop shootout starting from like a bank robbery or something.
Yeah, sure.
And by the time it gets to my courtroom, there may be 3.5 hours deep, and then we do like a 2-hour bench trial. And so by the time everything wraps, most of them are going off duty. So I can understand how, let's take the bench trial out of that equation, and let's say they go back to back to some of these big calls, and they go off duty, and then maybe the next day they're not scheduled to be on duty or they're unavailable.
Yep.
It seems like they might run afoul of the 48 hours just simply by way of like scheduling.
So, okay.
And I'm not sure how you could enforce that to a degree of fairness. Because right now the protocol is that a FOIA comes in and the people are notified, hey, this was FOIA'd, or the request was made, and you have up to, what is it, like 4 days after the incident to fully prepare the FOIA.
So
everyone gets tagged, and then they update, or fill in all their reports and make sure everything's done to the degree it needs to be, and then move on from there.
So my counter argument to this is going to be as follows. I am sort of coming from the position of civilians should have their rights protected. They are afforded a bench trial. In a perfect world, we would have, and I understand why, it's not the case, but in a perfect world, there would always be a judge available if a bench trial was requested. If a bench trial were to be requested, then whatever they have in that report is what they have to run with. So from the point of view I'm looking at it from...
Well, that's not true. That's not true at all. When a bench trial is requested, the officers are then basically given time to write the report.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
Half
You're
the
saying
time
like
bench
if
trials
they
are
got
requested in the car ride back to PD.
Absolutely, you are correct. I'm being a little loose with my... Yes, you're saying they may be afforded like an extra hour or 2 hours to wrap things up, given so that they're prepared for the bench trial. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And so when a person requests a bench trial, and they know that right then and there the incident report is going to be used as evidence.
Yeah.
And let's say they're not going to be able to attend the bench trial, or they're not needed because they're not a primary officer. They are given basically like an hour or whatever it is, hour and a half sometimes, to put together everything. But that's when they know it's required, right?
Right. Whereas they might have more time in the other cases. I'm in agreement.
They might go off duty, or they might, go to another call or whatever it might be. And then a lot of people will batch all their reports together. So, You know, they'll get off duty and then they'll come on duty the next time they're going to be on shift, and they'll spend the first, 3 hours on shift just sitting in MRPD writing all their reports.
Yeah. And I think that's very reasonable, right? Like I get, I absolutely get that position. In that where the way here is there are many different things that are transpiring on a day-to-day basis, and there's going to be a priority of what you're going to focus your reports on based on, is there a bench trial? Number 2, is there a FOIA? Number 3, no FOIAs come in, so the relevancy of it is going to be reduced. However, I'm looking at it from the perfect world perspective, and I'm saying that.
Hold on one second.
Yep.
Yeah. What's going on? Sure. Oh, take it out of the shared parking lot. The noose building. Don't ask me what jurisdiction it's in.
We're protected here, I think.
I don't know, because
No
the
man's
sign
land.
says Los Santos government facility, but Jose's map says the state, but then the signs in here say national, so fuck if I know. What's that phrase? Not my circus, not my monkeys. Debatable. All right, see ya.
So,
How you do? Oh yeah, you might get joyriding. Yeah. Make sure you don't bring your unserialized M469 with your 60 round mags. All right, sounds good. See you. Okay, continue.
yeah, so, right. So in a perfect world, judges would be available. So if a bench trial was to be requested, and then, there would be some period of time, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, right? In order to make sure that evidence was showed up, statements were showed up so that it could go to bench. Let me just complete the thought here. Now, going from sort of that angle, right? The sort of argument that I make here is, now, I understand that there's going to be a lot of things happening in the city, right? But beyond the 48 hours, you're now dealing with, does this individual actually remember what the fuck they think happened 5 days ago, 4 days ago, 3 days ago? All of a sudden, memory is starting to get, is going to get fuzzy. And given the fact that we're in Los Santos and like New York City and whatever, there's been, there's been tests done showing that, recollection of events is already deteriorating. I don't expect anyone, including myself, to remember what the fuck happened more than 2 days ago. Even 2 days can be a bit flaky. Now, I think that perhaps some of the fear is that if a FOIA was requested and the document was produced, that the belief is that that document at that moment in time should be everything pertaining to the charges. My argument is this: maybe it should be looked at as, this is the probable cause that has led to the charges that have been laid out. And while there may be additional evidence that like statements, things that might be missing, that may be helpful to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, that is something that can be introduced during discovery by said officers if they feel like what they have produced in that 48-hour period is not sufficient. Rather than it being like locked, right? And
yeah, but then you're gonna get 1 million docket filings based on the incomplete report that gets FOIA'd after 48 hours. Hell, half of them will probably be blank. And then you'll just have the officers submit everything during discovery and write all the reports and upload all the pictures, and then and then we waste everyone's time in discovery with a document.
I feel like that's a reasonable compromise. And perhaps I'm looking at it like this.
But then we're wasting a bunch of DOJ time for what?
Well, when you say whose time is being wasted though? Just to make sure I'm understanding this
So
clearly.
you're saying that they would rectify the issues in discovery,
Not rectify.
AKA there's a docket filing. So then a judge has to like take this on, review it, schedule the case, tag everybody, and then the cops actually finish everything and tidy it all up, and then it's like, oh wait, I don't have a claim anymore because they do have pictures of me making the handoff.
No. I don't think so. Okay, that in and of itself should be an issue. Because I think I see what you're saying. So here's the series of events that I'm imagining here. An individual is charged with X number of charges. FOIA, it goes for appeal. FOIA is requested after 48 hours.
It shouldn't go to an appeal until the attorney has advised their client whether it's a viable case or not. Yeah. In which case, they should have FOIA'd the document, and the document should be in full so that they have an accurate picture, right? How can you advise your client to proceed knowing that you're not getting the full picture right away?
Because you are basing that argument based on the FOIA that is produced that should have the probable cause. Now, in the event, I see what you're saying here, that if there is evidence missing from, to get Angel up to speed, we're sort of, I'm making the argument that the police department should be given only 48 hours in order to complete their reports upon FOIA. The counter arguments that have been presented.
Hold on. Did you say upon FOIA?
No. It should, like, the 48 hour, like, at the time of production, 48 hours has transpired from the time of arrest.
Okay, from the time of arrest. Okay.
Yeah. At the moment,
just so we're clear, and I want to make this point because I'm not sure that you're aware of this. I'm not sure anyone is.
Yeah.
Are you aware that the Malton process and the 4-day limit is specifically so you can get a no questions asked immediate fulfillment?
Say that one more time.
Okay, the Malton process that says it has to be 4 days afterwards is not the defining rule for any FOIA. It is simply a stipulation that says to PD, if these conditions are met, there is no question, no need to contact the officers, no need to notify anyone. You can just give the report to the person asking.
I believe you. I think what's happening, Crane, is I'm
looking at it right now, and I'll read it to you verbatim. It says,
in
I've read with the PD, the MDT after action legal and timely officer notes or Malton is now active to allow for instant FOIA fulfillments as long as you meet the requirements below. Lawyer provides documentation to representing someone. Incident must have occurred at least 4 days prior. Any report not labeled investigation or warrant.
I agree with your interpretation of it. I can tell you from my own experience and why I started pulling my hair out is my first interaction. Can you pull up my profile real quick? Don't ask me how I got this info, please.
How'd you get the info?
I would if I could, but I can't right now.
Oh. Well, it should mention something about me getting trespassed and I'm a piece of shit.
I mean, 6 1/2 dozen the other one, right?
Which, by the way, that's another part of the argument. I don't know why the fuck PD's
news motherfucker.
Yeah, I know, right? So this whole dilemma started with me. I had a victim who came to me and said, no one is helping me. I had the police department force me into a cash exchange robbery to become a hostage. I nearly lost my mind.
Hold on. I think I've heard
I
this
heard
story.
about this too.
Yep.
Yeah, hold on. You're painting a little narrow of a picture there.
Yeah, but I only know what she told me, right? You might have some more information.
Narrow picture there.
Perfectly fine.
Wasn't this that the hostage takers tried to say you could go or something?
No. Wait, who are we talking about? Who was the individual?
You were forced to be a hostage and oh yeah. So wasn't there someone where they were inside the bank or cash exchange, whatever it is? They were basically being held up and used as the leverage.
Yeah.
And then the hostage takers tried to be like, oh yeah, you can just leave.
No.
And the cops are like, that's not how that works, because if you just leave, then they're all gonna get shot. And then the person complained that they were forced to be a hostage.
No, I think this is a different situation.
Different? Okay, all right, explain.
But regardless, it's not beyond me that, look, there may be a counter argument to the events that took place. I only know what my client told
What's
me,
the
right?
person's name?
Fiona Stewart. This is kind of beyond the point, right? Like, we don't have to deep dive into this. The point here is I had someone come to me with a complaint.
Dispatch. This dispatcher don't like you.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. So I went in there with a victim, regardless of whether or not you believe she's a victim or not. She came to me as a victim, so I'm gonna, treat her as my client. And I went in. I asked for a FOIA on the particular cash exchange in which she was a hostage for, so I could look into it and find out what happened from the other side of things. As it turns out, there was no report listed at all. So there was no incident. There was no report. There's nothing revolving around this. In the dates that she gave me, I'd have to look it up. I got it on my notepad somewhere, but regardless. And I was immediately met with hostility, as was my client, when I requested that her statement be written down, and that I be produced a copy of her victim statement so that I could take that and take whatever next steps I took. And I was immediately met with, the DOJ is telling me we cannot give you this for 5 days.
No one said that.
I swear to God, Crane, this is how
I know, but I'm
my
saying
crusade
no one said
began.
that.
But
that's just
I 1,000% believe
stupid
you.
Person.
Yes,
Okay,
and well, that's what
I want to reinforce Nino here, because I've actually personally witnessed the PD drag their feet and intentionally not give us a FOIAs out for almost a month straight. They were delaying like 10 of them. It was back when Pred was a lawyer. He requested FOIA after FOIA
that's
after
why
FOIA.
the Moulton process got put in.
But the Moulton process doesn't really help that situation, because even when they were ordered by me specifically to provide the FOIAs, they ignored it.
What was this? What was it about?
This was a few months ago, back when Pred was requesting FOIAs.
Yeah,
for
but
civil cases.
Which ones?
Let me go find.
I mean,
they were eventually served.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, but eventually not good.
I mean, look, there's
back in
I don't know why he keeps going into like
a month ago.
Provide an example, bro. It's happening.
Before that too, in March. March is where the blunt of it was. I mean, you can see there's 6 FOIAs in here that go unanswered from him.
Yeah. Wait, never mind. I don't know anything about that situation, but so I'm standing over here with this dispatch, and I'm just like, this is fucking useless. Can I get someone? Like, I'm literally asking you to produce me something that's being written right in front of them. Luckily, I end up getting 2 fantastic officers along with Officer Bayweather, who assisted us. But me, being who I am, needed to know, why is this dispatcher not only arrogantly like talking down to a victim, but like telling me the DOJ is saying 5 days. And this is aside from the fact that she ended up calling up Siobhan and Murphy like immediately afterwards, like pissed off. That's how this profile update happened on the thing, over that altercation, which wasn't much of an altercation. But anyways, that's when I found out that this FOIA process isn't even in legislation. I then spoke to a handful of judges. I think it was like Bailey. Oh God, who else was there? Shit, I'm not really good with names. It was it was some of the judges after Soze's case. And I wanted to kind of get an understanding of like what's going on and some of the problems I'm facing, and if they could give me some sort of help. Oh, it was Bailey. It was Adams. It was what's her name? She's been there since like day one. Grace? No, not Grace. Gatsby. And so we had a good conversation, whatever. And then there was a follow-up with Bailey. He recommended to me that it is up to the city council to make changes to get FOIAs into law, because inherently, if they do not, regardless of whether it's in the SOPs, if they don't produce those FOIAs, I cannot do anything. Like, if let's say I go put a FOIA in, they decide not to produce it for 30 days, statute of limitations done, I can't even file a civil lawsuit because they technically didn't do anything wrong. So Bailey's telling me I got to talk to the consul and I got to talk to the head of BA, who's one of the responsible parties. So I do that. I get a call from Slacks. I talk to Slacks about the matter. I'm like, here's the problem that we're facing. Can we find a middle ground in the interim? Because I'm having issues and other attorneys are having issues with the FOIA too. They're coming to me and telling me the same thing. There's what's his name? One attorney, he waited 45 days for a subpoena beyond the statute of limitations. Other are waiting days and days and days, giving excuses. Slacks gives me an entire 45-minute waste of time. I then talk to the assistant chief, Ruby York, to bring up the same concern because I get directed to her. And she comes and tells me, number one, it's not in legislation. And number two, DOJ is saying, wait, that they get 5 days. And that's now, she's inferring that she doesn't even need to give it after 5 days. So that's kind of how things eventually got directed to Ukraine, where it was, you know, Nino. I don't know how it was painted, but it definitely, the way you approached me up in Polito, it definitely seemed like people came complaining about me when I'm just saying, I want to be able to do my job as with the other attorneys. Please, let's fix this FOIA thing. I'm not trying to crucify anyone. I'm just trying to do my job. So, while I understand that the Molten process, you may have been there when it was written, may have discussed it, but somehow along the way, there's a huge communication breakdown, and I would argue that it's due to the articulation and the way that it's written. There's too much open to interpretation. Let's get this in legislation, so it's crystal clear.
Yeah.
The Nino process? Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I'm assuming he's typing away. No, I think he's probably banging away right now. Yeah, I agree. The one thing that's very difficult with Crane is you don't know if he understood the point or not. Because regardless of what Crane thinks, you can't have Crane all the time. And if the police department is misinterpreting this document, then the document is bad. If people in Los Santos literally cannot go to court because the PD is refusing to give FOIAs, then we can't do anything. Literally, they can be like, "Oh, my bad," and we can't. There's no recourse. There is literally zero recourse. Oh, 100%. Otherwise, PD's just walking arrest machines. It's been far too long where people need to lean on Crane. Let's just do it right the first time and write it down. Typing is not difficult. That's the beauty of legislation and the beauty of the system that's been put in place and the beauty of the MDT. Literally write, you know, very detailed expectations. And then if expectations are not met, there's holes in it, we get to update the legislation. Back in the day, the excuse used to be that the MDT is too difficult to update. It's not difficult anymore. You literally just start typing and you hit the save button. Oh, it's so functional. It kind of goes to my point previously about my large disappointment with the current operation of the police department is they have like 4 times as many tools as we used to have. Specifically, and I'll go over it again, is evidence collection is automated. People can write reports simultaneously. Evidence is, you don't need to figure out where bullet casings are going. You got VR. You've got all these amazing things, and you can change legislation. Yet, and there's significantly less arrests. Yet, for some reason, it is some of the most shoddy police work I've ever seen since 1.0. There is literally no excuses. I mean, one of the reasons we required 72 hours back in the day is because you couldn't type your reports at the same time. Now you can. Inherently, I don't understand, as someone who has played a cop, who normally bangs out a report in less than 10 minutes, why you would ever even need 48.
So what did I miss?
Not much. Would just, I think,
I'm writing shit.
Okay. All right.
Please, no, not shit. Please, Crane, please. That's how we got here in the first place. God damn it.
No, it's not how we got here in the first place. We got here because people are confused, which is a colloquialism for feigning ignorance to make yourself feel clever by pointing out inaccuracies in something that really don't matter, but are used to stroke your own ego. That's why we're here.
I don't think PD's stroking their ego. I think they just genuinely believe they get 5 days.
I was talking about you, Nino.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Listen, you pussy bitch, all right? You think I want to do this, motherfucker? I came over here because you think that everyone's got to come to you and be like, oh my God, hey, you know.
Nino, you got triggered by a goddamn dispatcher.
How is it triggered? How, like, I'm sorry, do you have like, are you not able to pick up social cues
with a dispatcher?
Where's the ego battle? Where are you coming? Like where are you coming? Listen, let me ask you something, Crane. Have you given up?
Oh, a long time ago.
So then why do you do this?
Good question.
I mean, look, Crane, I fuck with you. But why are you coming at me sideways?
You're just
I'm just asking you to write down a FOIA process. I didn't even come at you sideways. So why? Why?
Because I don't think any of this process is any different than what's already written down. You just dealt with one asshole.
It wasn't one asshole, you stupid fuck. I've been dealing with this with client after client after client.
Okay, and half the things you came to me
after these other
half the things you
let me
brought,
finish. Okay. After these, how is it that every other lawyer is having the same issues? Andrew just gave you some examples too, but for some reason, you, in your delusional mind, you think the PD's doing everything correct when they've literally told me otherwise.
No, I don't think they're doing anything correct. What I'm saying is that these are very clearly certain individual issues that can be resolved by addressing those people. The same stupidity.
Why not just type?
Because what you don't seem to understand is that, for example, There are plenty of things that have been written down since, the restructure, or even, 5-6 years ago, that were written down very clearly and articulated.
Okay.
That people still didn't follow or understand. I could write 1 million words and it would not resolve stupidity. It will not cure it.
That's why it's got to be legislation so there can be counter. Like, listen, like, does it? I mean, listen, you're the Chief Justice. You understand the fact that if it is in legislation and the police department does not produce the FOIA that allows people to defend themselves, then they can then sue the police department. I mean, this is like, I mean, this makes sense, right? What is their recourse otherwise?
I consider that recourse to be a lot weaker than the fear of God.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, has this shit been like, has the thing with the dispatcher been resolved with their command?
Well, I don't know why you're like focusing on this dispatch issue.
Well, it sounds like she's the one who trespassed you with the Fiona issue.
Well, she didn't trespass.
She tried to.
Okay, and how does that affect the other FOIAs I wasn't able to produce?
Well, okay, because half of the other ones you asked for wouldn't be qualified even under this one.
No, listen, Crane, I appreciate you, but you get stuck on like these like kind of stupid points. Like you want all these examples to be produced like ad hoc, which is completely unreasonable. I am telling you, and you're failing to believe that I am having issues producing any FOIAs. And of the ones that you're trying to reference, we already discussed this. These are the warrants. We already concluded that conversation a week ago.
Well, the reason I have trouble with that is because I look at
why
the
do you
FOIA,
not want to write this?
The reason I'm in the middle of writing it. The reason I have trouble with it is because
why,
I look at the
why
FOIA
are you so
discussions.
butthurt right now? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Butthurt about what?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. Like you're thinking this is like an ego thing. You think I am doing all this because of ego? I'm just trying to do my job, and I can't.
Right. Anything else I don't understand?
Well, I don't know. You're the one who started the you're the one who said this was an ego thing, and you're refusing to believe that the police department is not adequately producing FOIAs, and that like I feel like you're trying to come up with some kind of defense by saying, "Oh, the PD is producing this. It's only an ego that's resulting in me writing all this." If it was the ego, then why are you writing it to begin with? You don't actually believe it at all.
So to address things one by one,
please.
The reason why I asked for examples is because people in this city and elsewhere in general tend to come with a litany of complaints that are generalizations that reach a penultimate conclusion.
Okay.
So people will feel they've been wronged this time, that time, and this, that, and the third, and then they'll come up with a conclusion that is a summary of all their feelings of those experiences. And while they may feel that they are valid in that conclusion and those feelings, part of my job when things come to me that are complaints is to break down and understand the actual situation. Almost every single time that people come to me with generalities, right, I find that they are not accurate. That is because people typically have investments or points of view or biases or whatever it may be, self-interest, that lead to them to maybe conflate some things and stretch some things and skip over some other stuff, omit some things. And so in my job, in trying to balance what would be evidence or facts, I gather all of them. So when I ask someone who comes to me and says there's a an endemic issue with this process, well, I need to understand that, right? Because I may have examples of like
this guy's got to step down,
problems with like a certain person or a cop or something, right? I run into that in court all the time. But typically it is not a systemic problem. It is a problem with that officer or that dispatcher or whatever it may be. So hence why I requested the list from you of the things that you were concerned about.
Yeah.
Now, right off the bat, some of those things that you're concerned about would not be approved for FOIA regardless of what process we're under.
Some of the examples that we discussed and we got sorted A week ago, yes.
Sure. So second to
The
that,
warrants.
when I go through and I look at, for example, the correspondence related to FOIA, the vast majority of FOIAs that I look through are confirmed within, gosh, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's about a day. The request comes through the officer. They then say, good to go, good to go, good to go, and then they're released. Now, as Angel has
all I'm
pointed
hearing
out,
here is yap. I don't want to do any work.
Notifications here.
That's all I'm hearing.
That seem to have gone unanswered. Now, what I also noticed about this is that not only is it the same shift for almost all of these, it is some very, very clear repetitions in officers. And I have already made notes of those officers being insufficient in their documentation in court cases. So to me, I would suggest that looking at this, of the ones that Pred requested, and Angel can look at this too, the same name is responsible for about 60 to 70% of those FOIAs. And that person has a history of problems in PD. So there are some complications here that I think, may lead
just don't
to
understand.
a different conclusion.
I don't know where the ego thing came from.
The system is broken because the report is, or the protocol is written wrong.
I genuinely don't.
And
I'm so confused.
May be there are bad faith actors that exist in the PD who may be ruining the process for everyone. I'm just so confused
right now.
And maybe those people should be addressed rather than throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Now, I agree. It is a simpler and more efficient fix to write a piece of legislation that is more comprehensive and has, stricter requirements. That being said, I don't think that will fix those bad faith actors. Now you're saying I'm going to then be able to sue them and blah, blah, blah. But given that, 50% of that lawsuit money comes from the state, I'd much rather see those people just fired or demoted or disciplined.
How about we put them in jail?
Yeah. I mean,
put them in jail.
So
and fire them.
I mean,
right.
So
my point being that I typically, when I encounter sweeping concerns like yours, there is typically somewhere in the middle ground lies the actual truth of things.
So what is he saying right now?
I will return now to my writing.
Okay, so you wanted a iterated list of each and every. Listen, you know what, Crank? Just keep writing, please.
Yes, when you come to me with sweeping concerns and you tell me
that
you're having problems getting right, and
and I was actually speaking originally to Murphy Braun, who's supposed to be the owner of the Malton process, following the process, chain of command, whatever you want to call it. And I was going to push with Siobhan, who you were in the room with, up in Paleto, and try to push it through the console. You came, I don't know, through some series of God knows backroom conversations with probably the police department that was upset that they had to go and do their job.
No, not at all.
Well, what led you to come to me?
The people that came to me was Bailey, because Bailey told me that he was going around talking to PD and High Command, and I said, well, why isn't Murphy handling this? And then Bailey said, I don't know. And I said, well, where did this stem from? And Bailey said, Nino. And I said, okay, well, I'll talk to Nino.
You never brought that up to me, did you? A lot of this could be cleared up by just being like, what's the issue? Let's talk through this.
That's what I thought I did.
Look, no, I think it goes a long way.
What did I do at Siobhan's house?
I think it goes a long way.
What's the issue? I said, okay, give me examples and I'll work through it.
Right. I think
that's literally what I did.
I think it goes a long way to understand where the other party's coming from, right? And look, the reason I'm snapping is I think it's very unfortunate that concerns that I'm bringing up are being characterized as an ego trip. I'm trying to do right by my clients. as are many other lawyers, those that haven't quit yet.
Right. So who are the lawyers that quit that I'm supposed to feel is derivative of like the process being a problem?
Oh my Lord. This guy's brain dead. We're gonna have this back and forth all night.
Well, you're bringing up new things, so I'm asking for understanding.
Just keep typing, please. I don't know why he's I feel like there's only one person having the ego battle here. This is Nino doesn't want to. He's gonna fucking slit his throat, bro. Yeah, what is happening? This is so impressive. This is so impressive. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Oh my God, no wonder things are in shambles, man. Let's take a walk. Yeah. Oh, it's so, bro, no, man, listen, dude. This is impressive. I think he's convinced there isn't issues despite lawyers quitting. People bringing it up. This is the fundamental of like having a belief. I don't know where these perceptions came from. But I don't think there's a huge communication problem here, right? Yeah, I don't know where the tantrum's coming from. It's crazy. Because the thing is, right? Like, I think what he's failing to understand is like, if Bailey brought it up, a normal human being, functioning human being, is going to be like, hey, Bailey brought this up. What is your concern? By masking all the context and asking, well, what's going on from and then fighting the argument is the complete opposite of constructive. Yeah, it almost feels like we're personally attacking him when I don't know what Nino said. It's just, hey man, we're having this issue. The police department high command is claiming that they've got 5 days. How is that not tantamount to there being a problem with the documentation that they themselves are reading? And the inherent solution legislatively, or not legislatively, from a just how DOJ would function is, if they do something wrong, civilians who are wronged have a way to fight back. But now Nino's coming from the position of like, holy fuck, I think there's a hole in his head. I'm rather confused even where the sideswiping even sort of began, it's rather unnecessary and rather confusing and very presumptuous that this FOIA is a side effect of a ego trip. What? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. She probably knows it's boiling in here. Bro, I just want things to get better. That's what Nino wants as well. But this is unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Because at the end of the day, right, PDs should be able to do their job. Civilians should be able to live their lives. Lawyers should be able to defend them. And judges should be able to observe what's sort of transpiring. Yeah. So, I think from Nino's perspective, he's probably spent the last couple days hearing people crying about Nino getting justice, asking for a FOIA. I want you guys to put this into perspective. All Nino did was, I'm asking for a FOIA. No, it's autistic as fuck. Walk, your statement. To say that you need a litany of examples. That's not how people just have conversations. What your statement right there is absolutely extremely fucking idiotic. That's not how conversations happen. That's something you ask for in advance to a conversation. When you're asking for a list of particular incidents. Yeah. I don't know how you communicate in real life, but I think PD just doesn't want to do paper. Yeah. I don't know. I'm confused. Personally. I don't really understand the position. Yeah, give me a list, get back to me. But there's no end to it. It's sort of the same argument of please. Yeah, it's a crazy. Well, I mean, no, I mean, it is literally the definition of debate lording, right?
Hello. What's going on?
Yeah, but Nino didn't bring it to Crane. Crane came to him, right? Oh my God. Bro, this shit just, yo, fuck being mayor, bro. This is just like incompetence emboldened. I think people just want to...
Who's us?
I don't know. The sort of the impression I get is, I genuinely do not believe,
For what?
there's a desire for advancement.
I'd rather milk my prostate.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to engage with the back and forth. This is brain dead. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You let him know.
GTA 6 announcement of this? Yeah. Oh my God, if I had to deal with this, bro, 5 hours every week, I would lose my fucking mind, bro. Yeah, Nino's gonna talk to Angel after this. Don't worry.
Oh, I got it. Don't worry about it. I'll twat it out.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. There's no comprehensive argument that's even made as that's my issue. There's no comprehensive argument. It's just kind of kicking your feet like a child.
I wanted to have a group meet with Soze to debate the concept of law.
Jesus.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good time.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself, man? We just need someone in place with who wants to just, I don't understand, man. It's crazy. Oh my God. Holy fuck. The more I watch Nino Saga, the more I'm coming to believe that the real problem with DOJ is too much of a reflection of Crane's mind. Yeah, that's, I think that's kind of, it sort of reminds me, and I'm saying this sort of the perspective of Nino, right? And why he's remained silent, is I think Nino's come to the realization is this is the equivalent of a software engineer that's learned how to work on a component and does not want anyone to know how that component works in order to maintain their power through exclusive knowledge on how it functions. And any questions that are brought up about that component, you know, is taken with extreme hostility because it is effectively poking at the potential of affecting the job security involved. And that's such a dangerous attitude. And that's very difficult to combat with any kind of like logic, and because you're not really battling on facts and like arguments. You're kind of battling with someone's emotions.
Okay. The Freedom of Information Act will be formally recognized and codified for purposes in the state of Los Santos, city of Los Santos, or state of San Andreas, city of Los Santos, county of Blaine, etc. This act is intended to promote transparency by government organizations, in this case specifically law enforcement. Any report created by law enforcement may be subject to FOIA given certain qualifications. FOIA request protocol. Requests for production of reports must be submitted in person or by formal written communication, email, physical letter, etc. to a member of PD dispatch reception or an on-duty officer, deputy equivalent for other departments accepted. Requests must clearly describe the records being sought.
Okay.
Be as specific as possible to help expedite the search process. Include your contact information for follow-up and delivery of the requested document. Review protocol. A FOIA officer will acknowledge receipt of your request within 24 hours of formal receipt. You will be informed if additional information is needed. Standard review period is 24 hours to determine if the requested report is exempt from FOIA, as it falls under one of the following categories: active investigation, active arrest warrant, trade secrets, confidential business information, internal government communications, warrant/subpoena, separate notification provision. Response time and delivery records. If the report is subject to FOIA, the maximum response time allocated to law enforcement will be 3 days from point of request. Reports that are completed and able to be distributed via FOIA upon request will be delivered as soon as possible.
Yeah.
AKA, that is a maximum, not the standard. That is the maximum. Reporting officers /approval/sign-off. Records will be delivered via formal written documentation, email, or text. Appeals process. If you believe your FOIA request has been denied or items have been omitted in error, you may appeal the decision to the DOJ. A sitting judge will then review the initial request and denial/omission records to establish that the PD has acted in error in denying/omitting portions of the FOIA request. An appeal will be submitted to the DOJ within 48 hours of the denial by contacting any sitting judge via in-person communication or formal writing. A determination of the appeal will be made within a subsequent 48-hour period.
Okay.
Questions, comments, concerns, notes?
So my understanding here is, because I think I soaked most of that in. So 3 days in order to produce the FOIA? Maximum of 3 days. If it is not fulfilled within 3 days, then the appeal is made to the DOJ. Did I understand that correctly?
No, the appeals process is for if it's denied or omitted. So let's say you request an incident report They say no. You say why not? They say active investigation. If you don't believe them or you think they're full of shit, you appeal it to a judge. The judge looks into it and then makes a determination.
All right. And what's the list of things that can be FOIA'd?
Anything that is not an active investigation, an active arrest warrant, trade secrets, confidential business information, internal government communication, or warrant/subpoena.
Okay. Okay. I think that's sufficient.
So basically, like, you're not going to sit there and subpoena like SOPs or advisories or bolos or, you know, like interdepartment disciplinary reports or things like that. What you could subpoena or FOIA would be things like incident reports, victim statement reports, stolen weapon reports, things, you know, any kind of civilian filing. As well as any kind of criminal incident report that is not part of an active investigation.
What how did you describe the warrant?
There's two things that you could not have. You cannot subpoena, or you cannot FOIA, I should say, an active arrest warrant.
Okay. So deactivated, I'd like some clarity there, but deactivated warrants. In other words, warrant is placed. It is no longer out there. You know, making it clear that, you know, I mean, they should be about. How did you write it? What did you write exactly for warrant?
Active arrest warrant.
Okay, that should be self-explanatory.
The question is should you be able to procure an expired arrest warrant?
Of course,
as long as it's not related to it. Well, the only issue is as long as it's not related to an active investigation.
Yeah, agreed.
Which is covered by the active investigation. So. And if PD wants to split hairs, then that's why the appeals process is in there.
Yes. All right. What about profiles?
You mean the notes section of the profile?
100%.
Internal government communication.
So I'm gonna make an argument here, since you brought it up. If someone pulls some put some dog shit. So we got a guy named Mr. Kevin, and in there it's got a list of, you know, a bunch of things that may influence officers to do things that are not police-like.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, I think those things should be put up for review by the DOJ. The DOJ, I think you guys should be able to review that shit. If people put some dumb shit in there, that completely affects the manner by which other officers unrelated are going to be interacting with that individual. There is direct influence.
I assume you're using Mr. Kevin as like a hypothetical.
Yes.
Because he doesn't have anything in there.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical, yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's dig into that. Are you saying that profiling is invalid?
Well, it depends on what kind of profiling we're talking about here, Crane.
Well, for example, if one officer writes on Mr. Kevin's,
or what?
Well, if Mr. Kevin writes on somebody's profile, or a cop writes on Mr. Kevin's profile, has been issued 3 speeding warnings, continues to speed, do not give him warnings in the future. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Do you think the lawyer, and does it influence future arrest?
No, because at the end of the day, and I've covered this point a number of times, people have this misunderstanding that somehow if a cop doesn't like you, that an arrest is then invalid. But that's not the case. If there's probable cause for the arrest, then there's probable cause for the arrest. The person's discretion in choosing to press the charge or not press the charge ultimately is not relevant to whether or not there's probable cause. You still need the probable cause.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like a generalization, to be honest. Do you have any examples?
Yeah, plenty.
Like?
So, for example, I had a bench trial where the people were trying to spin an idea of malicious prosecution. And they said that this officer, instead of letting them off with simply just, you know, their possessions and all that, that they were targeted because the cop doesn't like them because they had shit talked the cop and they had shot him in a previous scenario. Their argument
I don't think he got.
in
I
this
was
specific
joking.
instance, that officer, who was Denzel Shiesty, had a grudge against them. And when he saw them driving a flag 1060 vehicle,
you're saying an average cop will give equal warning? People have 3 warnings, someone has 0? Yeah. This is not a hill I'm going to die on, though, to be honest.
Ultimately, that's irrelevant because they were driving a 1060 vehicle. So whether or not he chose to pursue that 1060 vehicle versus other ones because of who was in the car is irrelevant to their guilt.
Agreed.
And it does not beget malicious prosecution. Malicious prosecution or bias or things like that only comes into play when the officer does something that is contrary to the evidence. So, for example, if the vehicle was 1074 negative, not flagged, and then the officer chased them because he said, you know what, the person who they stole it from probably just hadn't reported it yet because these guys only drive stolen cars and I know what cars they drive and that's not one of them. That would be malicious prosecution and bias and profiling in an unfair, illegal way, right? But looking at a flagged vehicle and going, hey, you're a piece of shit that I don't like and you're driving a flagged vehicle, so I'm going to ignore what I was going to go do and I'm going to chase you now. That's not malicious prosecution. That's doing your job. And, you know, we call that a twofer because you get to do it against someone who you don't like.
So do you believe that pretextual stops are valid?
Sure.
In Los Santos or like in general? You see the argument I'm trying to make here? There's a reason why certain states in the United States, I'm not going to give you exact ones, you can Google it, pretextual stops have been considered unconstitutional. And
right, but that's okay, but again, so this is the same reason as saying, for example, that it's unconstitutional to discriminate against people in housing because you can't rent to them because you don't like their religion, for example. That's perfectly accurate and valid and legal and responsible morally as well as legal. That being said, it is nearly impossible to prove that because in order for you to prove that discrimination occurred as a result of someone's religion, the person who's renting the home either would have to say so.
That's not a pretextual
you would have to do
stop.
some kind of elaborate sting operation in which you got someone who was essentially identical on paper to the other person as well as in
He's
person,
missing the point.
but just happen to be of a different religion and then show that they rented to the one person but not the other.
Okay.
So the idea of, you know, should a pretextual stop be legal or not, I mean, it's kind of redundant because the very nature of a pretextual stop to be legal but underhanded has to be legal.
This is an opinion.
Proving that it was underhanded generally requires either a long kind of pattern where, let's say, someone harasses people, you know, of a certain denomination, or they drive a certain car, or they look a certain way, and you'd have to go in very, very deep to try to, you know, justify that proof. So even in states or jurisdictions where you could say that they
so what you're saying is
pretextual stops, they still have to have a certain criteria to prove that it was something that fits that legislation to begin with.
Yeah, they still need probable cause, but the reason is that individual being targeted. For example,
well, no.
So and so is
states,
chain gang, therefore pull them over.
What I'm saying in those states, though, is that you still would need something that rises above just bias, because at a certain level, if the person committed a crime and an officer observes that crime, then any kind of bias, being pretextual or otherwise, is irrelevant at that point. Now, if it arises to, like, let's say the level of like stalking and harassment, then you might have a better argument, right? But if you're just driving along and you see someone doing something illegal and they happen to be someone you dislike, that's not it's not illegal.
That's literally not true, by the way. All right. what I'm hearing here is, if I'm understanding your argument here, is that pretextual stops, you see nothing wrong with it. If individuals are being targeted, there is no validity to that as long as there's probable cause.
No, I said the validity would be that you would have to prove that it went beyond what you would call like normal policing, and proving that is very, very, very difficult. Now, if it was proven that, let's say, someone had like a personal vendetta and was like, you know, every day getting on duty and then going and sitting outside the home.
He goes so deep down the end, so you can't.
Them back
it misses the argument.
Waiting for them to, like, you know, run a red light. Yeah, sure, that'd be something to be concerned about. But if we're talking about, you know, someone just
we were talking about
driving
profile.
around.
We were talking about the profile originally, right? And my argument for it is, if the chief of police was like, "Fuck this guy, I want you to pull him over every opportunity you can," and now it's in the profile. Do you not think that that there would be value in members of the justice to see whether those profiles, like professional, are not targeting individuals, etc., etc.? Because what you described is exactly what can be done in a profile. If someone's treating it like a fucking Reddit post, I mean, I see that as an issue. And I think judges having that purview to be able to look at these things is very within reason.
You what?
Very within reason?
I was referring to the Reddit post.
Yeah, you put some like fucking cringe shit inside, like, "Fuck this guy, I want you pulling him over every chance you get." There's no argument.
Are they doing that?
What? How would I know?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you
That's why we brought up the profile to begin with. You have access to it. The police department has access to it.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If I'd ever seen like that, so I'd be concerned, but I never have, so I'm just curious, like, where the concern is stemming from.
Is this guy stupid?
Like that, Angel?
Nothing that specific.
I can't. This is so dense.
Oh, here's one. John F. Government. Is the government knows everything? No, there's no assignment to those statements.
I
so
have brain damage after this.
And then there's one that says, has set up officers to dangerous situations. Talk to 111 Bayweather in regards for more information.
Where is this?
I'm just going through profiles.
Yeah,
John F. Government is one.
I see him.
Yeah, I mean, if I saw anything like that, I'd probably bring it up to PD. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Oh my lord.
Who's John F. Government? Why does he have a government tag?
He's the government, apparently.
I don't believe that. That's fake news.
Well,
why should the people not be able to FOIA this?
Who'd you meet?
Dude, I cannot be mayor.
Oh, no,
there's no way.
The restructure.
This is such bad. This is such a bad faith conversation.
Either.
And that's why I'll never believe anyone if they claim to be the state.
Although, you know, I did twat out once if Davis was around.
I got
a really angry.
If this is a photo, this would be a bad faith conversation right here.
The president or something, and why was I bringing his name up in public and national security and blah blah blah.
Yeah, but Brian's crazy. You can just pretend you never heard anything from him.
Gotcha.
So what's
that guy's a fucking lunatic.
So what's the why should we be able to FOIA these? What's the argument against it?
No, because it's internal police communications.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Now, if there's an allegation that, for example, internal police communications are being misused somehow, then that's, you know, certainly something that the DOJ or PDI can make a look into. But
thank you. That was my original recommendation.
I've looked through a lot, probably more profiles than a lot of people, and I've never seen anything like that. I'm trying to think of hated people like maybe Bobby Charles and Carmine.
Well, I mean, let's say, look, I know about what was placed in my profile, right? And obviously that's going to make me think, like, why the fuck is the dispatch putting random bullshit into my profile? If it's going to happen to me, then it is logical.
I can assure you
it is logical for me to make the conclusion it's happening to others.
That is the first time I've ever seen anything like that. And
what, in my profile?
Any disciplinary.
Can we go through my clients real quick?
Thing is, sure, go ahead.
Let's start with Stanley Miller. That's a joke.
Okay.
I'll make a list. Yeah, there certainly wasn't anything in there, you know, that was questionable and damning. That's for sure.
Stanley Little Tugs Miller.
Yeah, no, I heard it got resolved recently.
DNA, self-proclaimed. First go by Little Tugs. How's his mask a hijab?
Yeah.
Fuck's a hijab?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't see anything in here. Wait, you said someone got resolved? What was in there?
It was a joke, Crane.
Oh, all right. Anybody else?
Yeah, let's look up Mr. Kevin.
DNA taken. Yeah, that's it.
Tilly. The dispatcher.
Is that her real name?
I believe so. That's what she goes by. I'm assuming that's
her state ID.
Tilly Winters.
Nothing like that.
What do you mean? Wait, she's in Yellow
there's
Pages.
Nothing like bias. There's some weird shit. Apparently, some male is going around identifying themselves as Tilly Winters with an expired ID. That's kind of odd.
Wait, what?
It says from like a couple months ago, some male was going around identifying themselves as Tilly Winters with an expired ID. I don't know. Next.
I'm gonna make a list. I'll talk to a judge.
All right.
All right.
But yeah, no, I never seen anything like that. I mean, if I had, I'd be concerned because that's, you know, pretty dumb to incite people to be biased against someone. But
yeah,
whenever I see anything in profiles, it's all factual. It's just received traffic warning on this date.
Yeah.
DNA taken this date for this incident. Always wears mask, claims mask is his face. You know, shit like that.
Give me the meta. Give it to me. I'm kidding. All right. Okay, well, I think we are done here, at least for the time being. Now, I want to resolve whatever the fuck happened between us. Why did you think this was an ego thing? Because that's got me concerned, right?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, do you think I'm doing all this for ego?
Man, I really got you good with that one, didn't I?
Well, yes, because I am spending a lot of
That's
energy.
payback for sending me the fucking Weasel News building, dickhead.
Well, I mean, you know, you had an opportunity to ask a follow-up question.
Yeah, you pronounced it very specifically news, you
Listen,
fucking East Coast motherfucker.
And the amount of brain damage I've had to deal with trying to get FOIAs is insurmountable. I spend a lot of my energy trying to do good by people. And
Wait, you a lawyer now?
I'm sorry?
You said the amount of brain damage was insurmountable.
Yeah. What was
I mean, you're not all
what
there.
was the statement you said?
You said the amount of brain damage is insurmountable.
Yeah.
So does that mean you're not fit to be a lawyer?
No, motherfucker.
I'm confused.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not giving you a medical analysis.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Lately, I've had to be really specific with the words I say and write down.
Well, you know, you're dealing with the police department. What do you expect?
That is true. Soze was a state trooper.
Yeah.
You know him and Angel used to do steroids together?
Do you remember that you fucking helped me kill someone that was in Mission Row PD, motherfucker?
No.
Yeah, you do. The fucking
Smile.
yeah, Smile. Yeah.
Did you say
Listen, you and I share like a fucking secret, and luckily Angel didn't hear what I just said.
What did you say, Nino?
Nothing.
Now say it to my face, coward.
Nino's talking about when I lived a past life as a serial killer that no one knew about.
Oh, okay. I don't care if he's killed 1,000 people. It's fine.
Did you ever know that?
That you were a serial
I was
killer.
34.
I remember you
was.
telling me something, but then you became a lawyer, and then now you're here, stuck with these problems.
Yeah.
Regardless, I can tell you right now, I wanna get your honest opinion on this, because the impression I'm getting from you, is that you don't think this has not been a big deal, and you may have a perception that lawyers, there are a number of lawyers that are not getting frustrated and quitting. Maybe not officially, but are really pulling back. Have you gotten any of this feedback? And if you haven't, I can bring them to you. Because as of right now, I can give you a list of 7 that are absolutely infuriated with not just Murphy, but then a number that are just not even working anymore. Not because they don't want to, but due to the frustration.
Frustration with...
Well, FOIA's was the biggest one, which we've resolved.
The people that have expressed dire complaints to me and cited reasons why they're leaving DOJ, FOIA's was not the thing, Mitch. The thing that was mentioned to me most vehemently was these fucking dog shit judges.
Well, that's unfortunate. Are they dog shit?
Well,
pretty all right to me.
I tend to think they're okay, but some people disagree.
Yeah. But did they lose cases? Is that what happened?
Yes.
Okay. As of right now, a number of us are looking to get Murphy disbarred because, quote unquote, I don't have time for all these pussy crying lawyers, all of which he apparently never got phone calls to, but apparently they all spoke to him. So, of the ones you're ever going to find in the yellow pages, they all have disdain for him at the moment. Murphy's got to go.
Well, that's unfortunate. Why'd they vote for him?
There was like, look, I fucking voted for the guy because I thought he wasn't brain dead, but apparently, like, now he's listening to fucking emo music, and the only thing that he's done for anybody is bitch, cry, and talk about how Max and Siobhan are trying to kill him. It was a 3-3 vote, wasn't it?
There was the initial election, which I believe was like, I think like close to 20 people voted. And then there was the runoff election, which Murphy won by a hefty amount, which I was surprised by. It was him and Serge Cross, and it got really ugly. It was very like, I just remember it got like kind of personal and weird at one point where they were kind of going at each other, and I was like, this is supposed to be like a productive, do what's best for the department type deal. But I tried to stay out of the social squabbles, so I didn't really get too involved.
I think, to answer your question, why did people vote for him? I think they expected someone with the tenure he had and a sitting judge at the time to have some level of brain capacity left. It turned out there wasn't, and from my understanding, the only thing he's pushed forward is pay raises for the consul and a legislation that helps his girlfriend. And
who's his girlfriend?
I don't fucking know, like some musician.
Oh, there was one that burst in and said we're done and like broke up in the middle of a meeting.
The meeting adjourned thing?
No, no one got shot this time. It was some lady ran in. She was like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're done. Fuck you, Murphy Braun. And I was like, who is this woman? Why is she here? Why is the door being unlocked for her to do this? And then everyone else kind of like started hooting and hollering like it was some kind of like soap opera event or something.
Oh,
I don't know. She said something about never loved you or something. I don't know. It was weird. So maybe her.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know he's
All
stonewalling everybody. But with this case happening, we'll see what goes on with that. I mean, I think there's 3 weeks left until the election.
Yeah, it's a little awkward. I'm supposed to meet tomorrow. I'm a bit confused how to do so because Solomon, like, I don't know where he is because he was in the ICU after the shooting, and then I got out of the ICU and I was informed that he was ICU'd after the shooting. So, and then because he didn't get shot in the original shooting, I guess, and then I was informed he was ICU'd. And then I literally never heard from the man again.
Solomon,
the last time I saw him was the day of the shooting. Solomon Walker,
who the fuck is that?
Supposed to be, he's a deputy mayor.
Ugh.
British guy.
Well, that's probably the problem. Don't you guys meet at 1 a.m. or something?
No, we specifically changed our meeting times and everything for him.
Yeah.
We literally we met with him at that meeing, the meeting adjourned one.
Yeah.
And then I never saw him since. And then the other members were like, we got to get rid of this guy. He's like, well, they think that he like had a part in it or something. Like he maybe like tipped people off where we're going to be, or I don't know. There's a whole bunch of rumors. I didn't really pay attention to him.
Yeah.
But all I know is that then in the subsequent meetings since the shooting, he never showed up. And I never heard a word from him. And I asked several council members, like, have they contacted him? Did they reach out? And they said, yeah, we sent texts. We called him. We saw him around the city. So we like twatted and things like that. And he never reached out to us. And so then we basically, fucking held a vote and said, okay, we're going to temporarily suspend him pending a formal docket impeachment for dereliction of duty. So that's one down.
Yeah.
And now the same thing is happening from Murphy to Max and Siobhan. So I don't really know how that's going to work, because if they've got an active impeachment proceeding against them, then can they actively participate? I mean, I guess it's innocent until proven guilty. Not showing up is different than like claiming someone's corrupt or something, right? Because if you're not showing up, it's kind of like per se. It's like, okay, this person's just not communicating. But if it's one member of the board accusing another person of being corrupt, then does that disqualify them from working in the meantime? And if so, you know, how does that work? So I guess we're gonna figure it out tomorrow. But that whole thing is weird because I read some of that. Murphy's insinuating that there was supposed to be a vote for commissioner for, like, he's alleging that Max acted improperly in becoming the commissioner. But that's a whole weird angle to take because the PCP legislation that the state approved literally says that Max is just a vessel who goes to the state with like names for commissioner, and then the state picks a commissioner, and then Max is their agent to then appoint that person. And you know, hey, as someone who was part of the conversation, I can vouch the state picked Max. So I'm not really sure about that whole thing. But we'll see what happens tomorrow, I guess.
Well, you're just gonna show up at the meeting and then see if people show up?
I guess I'm gonna try to understand what's going on. Because
why don't you have like a quorum or something? I don't understand.
Well, we have a minimum, right, in terms of like the voting procedure and all that. But the issue is that we never we set up all the impeachment protocols.
Wait, who's the state?
That's a great question, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, is it an unknown entity?
Max and I think that we might have been scammed by like Uzbekistanis the whole time.
Gotcha.
So we thought we were talking to the state, but maybe it wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, who knows?
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens tomorrow. I'm gonna see who shows up and what they have to say.
I gotcha. Going further, moving forward, other issues that I come across, things like this, which I would have originally presented to the council through Siobhan, as I was going to do with this thing. This is the bit that I'm confused. You came in, you made the magic happen. That's fantastic. For future cases, do you want to go into the council? Do you want to come into you? Like, what is the process?
That is currently being discussed. One of the beautiful
by the
things,
state or the DOJ, by
who the fuck knows?
Okay.
Look,
you know
I still got to
state,
figure
right?
out. Oh yeah, which state are you?
What do you mean?
You know, are you?
I'm just fucking with you. I'm not actually the state, but it's a.
I don't know. You could be like 12.5%.
So it's being figured out, and then that's going to get communicated out. I want to make sure I'm going down the right path, right? Because it took, we'll find out soon. Soon, TM.
Hey, maybe we should ask John F. Government.
What do you mean? That's a random guy. No?
I mean, he's the government, isn't he?
I got you. Jesus Christ. All right.
Maybe we should ask the National Office of Security Enforcement.
Well, I bought this building, remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember. What's his name? What was that fucking weasel's name? Bucky.
Bucky.
He used to claim he owned this building.
That was a different time. That was a much different time. Wait, he did? No, he did own it.
I
What do you mean he claimed?
to.
Oh, he definitely owned it.
I guess.
I mean, how else would he be parking in a secure facility?
It's me. Probably the same way I park in PD.
Wasn't there something else I had to bring up, chat?
I give myself keys so I can stink up their bathroom.
Outside of FOIA, I feel like there was something.
I got those nice handicap stalls, with the bars.
Yeah. Anyone remember? Okay.
Ninos are great because before like a meeting, you do some dips on them, you'll get a little pump going.
Jesus. I need my profile fixed. I don't have the tags for the bullshit.
What tags?
I can't see. Hold on. I don't see the documents. Give me a sec. It looks. Where the fuck is this thing? You know the thing where you can see all the fucking documents and shit like that? Like where the FOIA, I should have been at the DOJ documents? Is that the right one?
Okay. You don't see DOJ documents?
Let me see if I can see it now. Do I have the tag? 'Cause I couldn't the other day. Remember I had to email you?
Staff. Oh, yeah, you don't. That's weird.
Yeah. This is actually originally, mind you, how all this started. And,
It's so annoying.
yeah.
I hate that there's like 3 different fucking steps now. Actually,
So,
there's like 4. Fuck.
For the sake of Tilly the dispatcher, because I know her name's been dragged through the fucking mud, unfortunately.
What'd she do?
Well, the inference. Oh my god, the amount of fucking brain damage. During the conversation with the police department, trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this FOIA shit, so I could get clarity for myself. The impression was the ears perked up as if they believed she had leaked something to me. When in reality,
Wait,
and
Angel.
her.
What did you need?
Well, Bones wanted to talk to me really quick, so I'm still gonna talk to you. I just
Bones?
yeah,
Tell him to come here. Fuck him.
He's right here.
Oh.
I was just wondering
Actually,
where to grab him.
he should probably hear this too, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just.
Yeah,
This is
look
how I
at
come in.
Green-haired bitch over here.
I'll pause on the thing
There's
so
just
he
the
can hear it and
distance.
pass
He's
it
not
around.
green-haired.
Oh. When does this legislation go through?
Which one?
The one you just wrote up.
Now?
Yeah. Can we call it the Nino process? No, don't actually do that.
How about we
please.
call it the
I've retroactively
extremely
claimed this is my territory.
great optimization?
The please read this
Welcome
document
to the circle.
process.
Hello. What's going on?
We're just working on FOIA legislation.
Nice. Can you tell me that report number again? It was 19 something, right?
For what?
The legislation
law?
or the case law?
1938.
I can see it now. I can now. All right, dope.
Cool.
Common law precedents. Yeah, someday we'll be able to show those to the public.
I would really like that. That's actually
Wait.
something I wanted to
You
ask
know, I
you
asked
about.
for
What?
that like 5 months ago.
Really? Why don't we just put it in legislation and then update it?
'Cause
on the
then-
website?
Yes, that is amazing.
So, because here's the reason why. I wanted a section called DOJ advisories because some things are not legislation, but DOJ clarifies. For example, I posted something. The DOJ advisory on government buildings. DOJ advisory on loans, coordination protocols, all that kind of stuff.
Why?
Okay.
But apparently, people can't see that shit.
Yeah, but to Angel's point, why can't it be legislation?
I would
Because
also
those
like
are
to
two
see-
separate
If it's
things.
common, well, the thing is though, like, if it's common law, wouldn't it be a de facto legislation because that's
Yeah.
how the
No.
Constitution is written?
Those are two separate concepts. So, legislation is something that the legislative branch, aka the city council, would enact. The common law is something that a judge dictates based on the interpretation of the available methods. So Constitution, penal code, legislation, etc. But the common law is more of a living thing that can be treated either as influential, precedent setting, etc. by other judges. So for example, when we have an outcome from a bench trial in which a judge creates something, that should not necessarily be a firm precedent, right?
Oh my Lord,
However,
have
if
mercy.
there's an appeal with like a panel on a constitutional issue, then that should be a firm precedent, right? So I'd like to distinguish the two.
Couldn't you just like temporarily just put a big thing in bold? This is not legislation. This is whatever you just said.
Oh boy.
I mean, I feel like that would solve it, no? And then when, you know, IT comes in and does their magic, you know, you just move it.
Yeah, let me ask IT how long it's going to take now that we have a secondary request.
There's a lot of IT stuff that's happening for the PD. We
sent it to
him yesterday. Yeah, I got a shit ton.
Food, please.
Sent it to him yesterday, so it was probably a good time.
Food, drink, please.
Anybody else need food? I got a shit ton because we were doing a panel today.
Yeah, I could use something to eat and drink.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
What,
need anything?
What about Precedent? Is it true? I don't have the. I'm only going off of what I've been told. Is that it's not currently available to read? Is that actually is that accurate or is that not accurate?
It's under DOJ documents, so lawyers have access. The issue is that
again, I got to clock back in. That's why
I have wanted something that is a middle ground, which is why I use advisory as a term.
Send a report
because the DOJ should be able to put out clarifying statements that would help guide things.
Yeah, I know, but I gotta
necessitate, you know, hard line.
I gotta relog
in legislation. So a good example of those would be like,
no, chat.
You know,
it's
the FOIA
I have
process.
to relog in.
One thing I would have loved to do is just put out a DOJ advisory that says, please refer to the portion of the Malton provisions which states that the maximum turnaround time is 4 days. This does not mean that you should be a dickhead and, you know, stifle lawyers from getting FOIAs. And if you do so, then there will be consequences. But, you know, whatever. We write legislation. But in terms of like common law and things like that, I would prefer there is a separate public section that is not legislation, that is like, for example, one thing that we voted on was that all state announcements should be codified for posterity.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you're not around and a state announcement goes out, you should be able to, you know, read it in the newspaper, or the MDT or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of those ideas, I think the problem is that it's one of those like too many cooks thing where one person brings up like a solution and the other person's like, I got a better solution. Why don't we do this? And then it's like, well, yeah, I don't care which way it gets implemented, just some way. And then it never gets off the ground because it gets stuck at like the discussing ideas stage. And the technicians are like, well, I don't deal in ideas, I deal in directives.
Yeah.
And then we kind of get in a circular motion.
Yeah.
So I think, unfortunately, I'll just have to talk directly with the technician and be like, hey, please do this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I think the other efforts have become circular. Well, I shouldn't say I think. That's on the level of being facetious as I'm confused.
Yeah. I
don't think. I know.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, when precedent is set, this document is updated like the same day sort of thing?
So judges will typically discuss their cases and discuss outcomes and, you know, do we want to make this something that is binding? So for example, I think the oldest one in there is the Rami thing. Rami had a court case where he's driving a car and he
What
was
was it
alleged
called,
to
chat?
have parked in the emergency lane of the hospital or on the back entrance. This is when he was going around getting votes, trying to become. What was he doing?
I don't remember.
He was campaigning for something.
Common law
it was
precedents.
just, I'm a lawyer.
Oh my God.
You know, tell your friends, call me, retain Rami, you know, pay me money kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some
this is
EMS
what he
basically
said?
got into a back and forth verbal interaction with Rami.
Yeah.
Rami then claims that he reversed the car to get in the right angle to leave the emergency lane and then drove off. The EMS claims that Rami ran him over intentionally and therefore was a felony hit and run.
Gotcha.
So essentially we had an outcome where we clarified that just because you claim that you don't know that you got in an accident, because Ryan basically said on the stand something along the lines of, I don't recall hitting anyone. It could be true, but I don't recall. I don't remember hearing any sounds, or I don't remember hitting anyone. We were listening to music and something else and blah, blah, blah. The engine sound, I think, was cited. And we made, you know, the caveat that just because you don't know you got in an accident doesn't mean you're not responsible, because you're driving an automobile and you should be responsible. So if you get in an accident, whether or not you know, are conscious or not, you're still liable if you then drive away from an accident, blah, 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 blah. Thus, encouraging people to be overly cautious when driving a vehicle and not flee from the scene of accidents under the guise of not knowing they hit someone.
Oh,
so things like that,
shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's funny because I've got a client that's dealing with something very similar.
Yeah, so there is a felony hit and run provision for that.
The ambulances count?
If they have license sirens on, they are not mandated to stop. No.
What if they murder someone?
It's an interesting question, but I mean, as far as I know, emergency vehicles are exempt from hit and run provisions due to the fact that they are, you know, emergency vehicles and thus identifiable.
Is that in legislation?
As far as I know, that's just been the way it's always been treated. But it'd be an interesting case to bring.
It will, yeah. So now that Bones is here, Bones, I want to, since you're walking up, I figured you might as well hear this as well. Tilly, the dispatcher.
Hello?
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm following.
She, under the guise at the time we both had, which is that there is a FOIA document, and due to permission issues that I had on my end, not being able to pull it up, Crane just rectified that, gave me a copy of the FOIA shit. It was not until Judge Bailey provided the PD copy and the lawyer copy, I want to say. Like, I don't know, they fall in two different categories.
Yeah, I think ours are like SOPs and yours are, I don't know what you would classify yours as.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know what she gave me because it's different from what Bailey gave me. So there's like 3 copies of some shit. I don't know if it got like updated or whatever it is. The reason I bring that up is the inference that was brought up to me was that she was leaking things, and I wanted it to be very bluntly clear that that was no one's intent.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to her about this, but it was the fact that it was considered an SOP, and it is considered an SOP.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't in the, you know, it's 2 separate things, I guess. Now that you said that, I didn't know that it was 2 separate things.
Right.
And she was like handing that out.
You understand the perception though, right? You're like, hey, there's a FOIA thing. I don't have that. Can you give it to me? No, like, there's no reason to believe that there's more than one document.
She said that she looked through it, and then she was like making sure that it wasn't bad. And
yeah,
I mean, if you see it, it's not bad, but
and technically it was a PD announcement according to this thing, which per the Moulton process was not exempt.
I think that's all technicalities though, like PD announcement, SOPs, whatever you want to call it. It's just,
well, the new legislation covers that as internal government communications.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm reading a whole bunch of stuff, but
All right.
yeah, I'm familiar with what happened right then.
All
Hey,
right.
Bones, you
She didn't
see
get
the
in
sign
any
behind us?
insane trouble.
What does that
Yeah.
say?
Los Santos government facility.
But what is that? What does that seal say to the left?
Oh, nice.
I'm confused.
I'm still.
Did you
How are
see
you
all the
guys
pictures on the
confused?
docket?
I feel like this is unnecessary confusion. Where's the confusing bit?
Well, apparently, according to the map on the docket, the state owns this ground.
Yeah, but that's what this sign infers, though.
But it says Los Santos, which is the municipality.
Yeah, but that's just the name, right? It
Well,
still
but
says
according to the
National
docket,
Office
names
Security of
matter.
Enforcement.
But see, that would be federal, not state.
That's true.
See, now you're going to get confused. Nino.
I see.
Yep.
But the Los Santos isn't the confusing bit.
Well, I mean, it's part of it
Just all the
because
technicalities
in the
of it all
map
is
with the
just-
jurisdiction, this entire area is labeled as the state property, but all the signs, including the one at the entrance, say Los Santos government facility, and Los Santos is the
Hold
municipality.
on, let me pull up this map. Maybe that'll.
You
clear
should look
things
at the
up.
docket with there's a lot of, confusing things in just the photos and landmarks around the city.
Is
that
this
you'll
the closed
see.
one?
All the signs. Yeah, it's closed.
Yeah.
Just look at all the pictures with the guy without the shirt.
Oh, yeah, it's
the
a-
people with
it's a rabbit hole.
Kelso.
You know, there's a sign, Nino, in Polito. There's actually 6 of them along the main drag that say littering is enforceable by up to a $25,000 fine, points on your license, and jail time.
Well, there's speeding signs all over the city as well.
Yeah.
Is it is this something that he posted like further in the docket?
It was, I think, on the 3rd page or 2nd page. I don't know if we've reached 4 pages now in that docket posting, but
Oh shit, he defined everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
after the Webster stuff. It's a pretty funny docket post. It's really entertaining if you want to take a read. Honestly, it's pretty good.
Okay, I see the photo.
All right. You
There's
see
a
the
lot.
map? You see how
This is
the map's
what-
after
this
all
is
the
in
sign
map.
pictures.
Oh brother, this is
Yeah, but it's purple. That's state.
When
what?
national should
Oh,
be federal.
I got you. And where's the federal?
Red is federal.
Okay,
Apparently, there's a national park somewhere in there.
but who produced this?
Soze? I don't know.
Okay, so if it's not codified, it's it is what it is. No.
It is. Yeah, he's just fucking around.
Yeah,
Calling out like how it's wrong.
Well, I'm just pointing out that going down that rabbit hole really doesn't serve anyone, but
It does though.
you
I
know.
mean, yeah. I wasn't his entire argument that the Constitution is of a higher authority than the laws that are,
He's arguing that state's Los Santos in a lot of things. Then he was arguing that was a part of his argument with the state power
Yeah.
and
like the state defines the Constitution, then everything that comes after that is in the purview of Los Santos.
but he's saying
Well,
that that
there's
doesn't
an argument
spread.
about is the authority of the state or from the state? Is the Constitution state level or municipal level?
Yeah.
Or is the council making law that applies to the entire state or just the boundaries of Los Santos? Blah, blah, blah.
All right. Well, that sounds like fun. Well, I got my
So
FOIAs.
much.
So
Wait,
what do you
don't wanna
thinking?
stick around
48
and
hours?
talk about
Wait, we can-
jurisdiction?
I mean, I got no problem with that. I think well, you're asking the guy that actually is very much in favor of boundaries, property lines, all that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's the other question is, have we been taxing Polito illegally this whole time?
I mean, you got to start from somewhere, right? I mean, am I?
Why does the mayor control
So-
the state account?
Well, let me look, I think it goes. I think we all know that Soze is not exactly all there, right? The guy's walking around in a fucking bear costume with a thing on his head. But
he was wearing a tinfoil
I
hat in
think the
today.
point that he was trying to drive at is not all fucking crazy, right?
I don't either.
And I think, you know, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, is there any validity to the point he's trying to make? And I think that's the only thing that should be considered. In the same fashion that laws were put in place 7 months ago, right? And my understanding,
this goes back further than that.
Oh, whatever, right?
The Constitution has referred to this place as Los Santos for 2 restructures now.
Is that the laws should be exercised and improved on, right? And if there's any non-consistencies or holes, gaps, that they can be filled through court cases and through discussion. And in my eyes, I kind of feel like that's where the counsel comes into place, where the defense attorneys come into place, and these kind of conversations.
Well, the council, no, because they're municipal.
I mean, you're saying that as a meme, right? Or has that been?
No, legitimately, I'm saying I don't think they'd have any just like entry into the conversation.
Has that been concluded on?
I don't know yet.
What is someone making that decision?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know, Crane?
Listen, I gotta brush
If
up
you
my
don't know, who
Uzbekistani,
knows?
okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna contact state on this?
What if Soze makes the decisions? What if you fucked up, Crane?
That would be a world of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. We both fucked up then.
How'd you fuck up?
I'm the one who pressed the fucking charges on him.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, Bones.
Yeah.
Has there been a perception in the police department that the police department must use the 5 days for producing documents? What has been your perception of it?
For the FOIA process?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, because, I mean, my opinion, if it's all done and it's good, it's okay to kind of go through that. But I think a lot of people and a lot of things that get FOIA'd are big cases or bigger scenes, or there might be someone's report that, you know, they haven't put it in for the, you know, however long they put in their statements for.
Do you believe it might have been the lack of clarity and the vagueness of the drunken
I also
document
think
that Malton made?
that we could have been like, well, it was a very vague document, but we also, as PD, could
you
know, clarify that and be like, hey, it's okay if it's all done, you can give it to them and share this report with them. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I take accountability for that as well. I could improve on that.
I think the defense attorneys play a big role in that as well. I mean, at least from my perspective,
we don't have any.
I'm just confused. He means Okay, Bones thought you meant
I'm
like
thinking
attorneys
DA
for.
office. Yeah, I'm thinking. DA.
No. I mean, like people like myself, you know, working with clients, seeing that there's an issue and bringing it forward.
Look, the fact that this was an issue for this long, and no one ever told me that is crazy, because it is like the most common sense thing in the world to me to read that.
Yeah.
Clearly, Malton's intent is to say the maximum amount of time that PD can take to return a document is 4 days.
Holy
or whatever.
Crane.
But somehow that becomes to PD
standard.
I get to fuck around for 5 days
Yes.
until I give them the document.
Thank you, Crane.
Yeah,
what you just said right
It's like
there
so common sense.
has been my last 2 weeks.
No one has brought this up except for you. by the way.
No. They, brother. I can go through my contact list. I have 7 attorneys. All went to Murphy, and he said, "Stop crying. I don't have time for your FOIA."
No one has brought this to me except for you, by the way.
Yeah.
And the only reason I heard it is because Bailey heard it. And the only reason Bailey heard it is because he went down the rabbit hole of, indulging every kind of argument possible, which I guess is beneficial in some ways.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it goes back to my point, right? If defense attorneys, there's no singular individual entity that's responsible for these things, right? Like, even for defense attorneys, they go and defend their client. They see that there's an issue legislatively or process-wise, and then they got to bring it up. Discussions happen, and then things change. Right? But the fact that none of that happened is ridiculous, right? Because the moment a defense attorney was not able to get a document produced in a timely fashion, that should have been bubbled right up the chain, right? So it's resolved.
Yeah, I never heard about it.
Yeah. Well, luckily I'm here now. All right. Well, I think we're done here. Hopefully, Crane, we walk away from this, you understanding that this is for the betterment of the people, and not a you thing or a me thing or a Bones thing for that matter. Even though we've been talking shit about him for the past hour.
Hey, Bones, why is Siobhan texting me in all caps saying I was kidnapped and tortured and named my kidnappers? Bones told me it was he said, she said. I want to scream and cry. They won't even take my statement.
I mean, this is after she told us to walk in the courtroom in the middle of all that and put him in handcuffs right then and there. I mean, the no one will take her statement was, I mean, I can go into that in a more private matter with you. I don't want to air her dirty laundry, but she needed a little bit.
Right. So
still needs a little bit. She's not in the right.
How do I deal with this?
Don't just fucking leave it.
Bones, you never dealt with a woman, have you?
I mean, there's a lot of things with listen, I told Siobhan to relax earlier when she was screaming some bullshit.
Oh no, you did not.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple things, and then
good lord, son, you have so much to learn.
And then I said I don't give a fuck.
Oh boy.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that I probably shouldn't. Yeah.
So you told a lady in hysterics to relax, and then when she questioned you on that, you told her you don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I think I said I don't give a fuck. Relax. Maybe.
Oh, you doubled down. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nino, any guiding thoughts of wisdom for this young man?
Well, the fact that he understood that document better than everyone else I spoke to, I think he's doing a pretty good job. So.
Well,
I meant on the whole telling a hysterical woman to relax thing.
Well,
I
don't.
You know
I think what he said wasn't as bad.
I asked Nino Chavez, so fuck me for that.
Oh, shut
Nino,
the.
Yeah.
You just said hysterical woman. What do you want me to say?
Imagine someone screaming at you and being defensive as fuck. Whenever you're just being like, hey, why do you have that? Or do you have that?
Yeah.
And you're just like, they're just fucking, no, I don't fucking have that. No, what the fuck are you talking about? And you're like, relax. Just relax.
Yeah.
Like in that tone. That's what happened.
I telling someone to relax is like, wait, what did she say?
Basically, the example was, she has you're just asking a question if she has something on her or something like that, and she just freaks out. I'm like, what the fuck? Relax. I'm just asking,
Yeah, I can't. The
problem
emotion
for this
pisses me off.
She texted me in all caps, freaking out about the PD not taking a victim statement. She got kidnapped and tortured and all this kind of shit.
It can't.
And
she's still...
Bones told me that he was unable to take her statement because she was, freaking out. And his response to this was to tell her to relax.
I mean, that's reasonable. I mean, if she doesn't, she's gotta get calm and collected before.
If she's
in immediate danger, right? But I don't know.
You know what? That's a good point, Bones. I'll tell her that you said to relax.
No, I don't think you should. I mean, you could say that. I'm not scared of it.
I mean, is she a victim? I mean, why not take? I don't understand. Like, if you didn't want to take it, why not just give it to somebody else?
It was just brought up right then and there in the middle of a high command meeting. It's
recently, in the last hour, 2 hours.
In the last hour, yeah, hour.
I got you.
Actually, 2 hours is fair.
mean, you have 2
It's like
hours
a-
to be like, hey, I need you to go take a statement from her.
What if I told you I have been in a high command meeting from that to this, and I haven't been on patrol at all today?
Yeah, but 311, you make a phone call. I'm sure there's officers you trust. You got a little thing to see.
You're right.
You know?
You're right. I could do that. I would do that.
So multitasking is probably going to be a day-to-day, and that's the hottest thing to do. So
Bad news.
you have no cops
You
on
need a
duty?
to-do list, Bones.
Dude, it's not even. I came here to try and figure out.
You know that sometimes I get 10 people deep on the to-dos? I got 4 right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got to write them down. That's the only way you hold yourself accountable. Is every time someone calls you and you say you're busy, you write down their name in the order they called you.
Hey, Decker.
You chip through the list. And if you don't get through the list, you tell them you got to go off duty for the day. They'll get back to them tomorrow when they're at the top of the list.
Yeah. All right.
If you can. I don't know how long you're gonna be on duty, but I need you to
So-
make a statement.
Crane, you never did answer that question from 30 minutes ago.
Which one?
Who do lawyers like myself
yeah,
direct
I'll
this
just give
to?
you her number. Just get-
These
Direct
sort of
what?
concerns.
Sounds good. I'll text you her number. Okay.
Any holes we might see. Is it the
You
console or
should
is it
direct
directly
them
to the DOJ?
head of bar
Yeah.
if it is specifically an issue that you deal with as a lawyer in your professional employ.
Yeah.
And if the head of bar does not satisfy your
Is it not the city
concerns-
console though? Or like, is
No.
it actually
specifically,
legislative change?
Okay, again, specifically, if this is directly something you experience in your employ,
Yeah.
then it should go first to the head of bar because
Yeah.
that is the person who is your conduit to the city council. That is literally the city council. The head of bar is a seat on the council.
I
So
see.
this is how it's set up, right? So if you're a cop and you have an issue, you go to the PD liaison. If you're an EMS and you have a healthcare issue, you
No
go to the
such
healthcare
thing as
liaison,
easy-
et cetera, et cetera. So if
There's
you're a
no such
lawyer,
thing as
if you have an
easy
issue, You go
answers.
to the head of bar. Now,
Yeah.
if your designated representative that is supposed to represent you, who
Yeah.
you voted for, is not representing you and is not hearing your concerns validly and is dismissing them, then you should go to their boss. In this case, that would be me.
All right. Okay. Easy. All right. Well, I am. Angel, do you have my number by any chance?
No, I don't think so.
Here. There you go. A couple things I want to discuss with you whenever you get a chance.
Okay.
There you go. All right. All right. Well,
anything PD wise besides the Tilly thing?
yeah, I mean, look, I had a dispatcher freak out on me for not giving me a document. Wrote some bullshit on my profile. Hopefully she's not doing it to others as
I
well.
just texted you, Nino. Yo, what's up, baby?
Yeah,
Which
you should
dispatcher?
look into that, Bones. It's Jadlyn.
Yeah.
How recent? If you
Literally a couple weeks, she flew off with a
A
handle
week?
apparently and wrote a thing on his profile that I've never seen anything like it before. It literally
Yeah.
is like, basically like this guy's a dickhead and not so many words.
Yeah.
okay. She's on thin ice too, so I'll talk to her.
Yeah.
You
Keep
can look
in
at her
mind.
profile right now.
Keep in
me
mind.
one
This
second.
is Yep.
What's up, Decker? Just call her and set something up with her. I'll send you her number. All right, thank you. Bye.
Look-
Can you send me that number that she texted you from, Corinne?
Who?
Is that her number?
It's her-
420?
I think
I wish you
it's
put
her-
names next to
I
it.
don't know. She's had her phone stolen so many times.
87.
Yeah, I mean, if it's this one,
Wait, that's
It
mine.
is. How do I see? Hold on.
I did.
is it the 02?
Dude, my
Yes.
brain hurts.
Thank you.
That was a very all right, easy. Yeah, like I'm not very pressed about what you put on my shit, but you know, if it happened to me, is it gonna happen to someone else? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think
what
it's a
I'm
valid concern. I'm just, I'm up here to take stuff from them
Yeah.
and what they want for
Well, I
like
told-
DOJ
I told
side.
Nino,
So I should
if
also
I
get
see
like.
anything like that. I would say something. I haven't before.
Yeah.
But it definitely it's not. How to put this? The only reason it's not really
Look at
bad
it.
is because she doesn't have as much authority. You know what I mean? But if someone like, for example, you were to write something like that, it might be a little
Oh.
different.
Oh. Okay.
It's just kind of like it doesn't
to be
read professional. You
Why,
know what I mean?
To
It's
be
just like-
fair-
why not make a report to somebody?
To be
If, like,
fair,
this-
I called her
it's just a
useless
wish.
for talking down to my client.
I mean, I don't
who's a
doubt that
victim.
you were disrespectful to her. I
Yeah.
don't doubt that at all.
She pissed me off.
But I think like doing this, like when she could have just do you know everything about this? Yeah, like you've seen it head to toe.
Yeah.
What's written?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay. So like dispatch wishes to trust, like if she wishes to try to trespass them, talk
then
to
do
a
it,
cop. You know,
motherfucker.
talk to a cop.
Yeah. Yeah, she started frantically hitting up calls. I mean, imagine telling the fucking victim that she doesn't got time for him. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Is there context? Like I can take this later if you give,
Nah,
can you
nah,
give me
nah,
5
it's-
minutes.
yeah,
Or is
yeah.
it just, like-
Give me a call. We'll talk about it.
All right.
There we go. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta make some phone
after
calls.
phone calls.
All right, Crane. Hopefully we don't see each other anytime soon. Otherwise, I'm sure it's gonna be, more shit like this. But,
Nino, I'll send you a text.
anything
alright?
for me?
What do you mean? I love edging for 3 hours.
Hey, we got legislation written, so it's gonna be up in 48 hours, right? That's the timetable.
It's already published.
Wait, so it's live?
I wrote it live.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know. I thought, like, I don't know. It's okay. All right, time to get some FOIAs, motherfucker.